I never thought one night could change my entire life. It all started with a phone call I wasn't supposed to hear. I came home late, exhausted from work, and as I opened the door, I froze. My wife, Anna, was in the kitchen, whispering into her phone. She didn't notice me. Her voice was low, but trembling with excitement. "No, not tonight. He's home. Tomorrow, same place." My stomach tightened. I wanted to believe I misunderstood, but deep down, I knew. She wasn't talking to her mother or a friend. The way she smiled, the way her hand nervously touched her hair, it wasn't casual. I stood in the hallway listening, feeling like my chest was being ripped apart. When she finally hung up, I quickly stepped into the room, pretending I had just arrived. She looked startled, then forced a smile. "You're home early," she said, pouring me a glass of water. I nodded, staring at her hands. They were shaking. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay next to her, hearing her calm breathing, while my mind screamed questions. Who was he? How long had this been going on? And why did I feel like I was losing control of everything? The next day, I decided to follow her. I told her I was going to stay late at work, but instead, I left early. I parked near the cafe she always loved, the one where we used to meet when we first dated. My hands were sweating on the steering wheel. Minutes passed like hours until I finally saw her. Anna walked quickly, glancing around as if she didn't want to be seen. She went inside, and moments later, a man joined her. He was tall, confident, with that arrogant smile men wear when they know they're winning something that isn't theirs. I felt my chest tighten again, but I forced myself to stay calm. I couldn't just storm in there. I needed to know more. I needed the truth. I took out my phone and started recording from the car window. Their laughter cut through me like a knife. The way she touched his arm, the way he leaned closer. It was like watching my entire marriage burn down in front of my eyes. But then something unexpected happened. Anna reached into her bag and pulled out a small envelope. She slid it across the table to him. He looked inside, and his smile vanished. His face grew pale, serious. He shook his head, whispering something I couldn't hear. Anna's expression changed too. She wasn't flirting anymore. She looked scared. Terrified, even. My confusion grew. This wasn't just some meaningless affair. There was something more. Something dangerous. And at that moment, I realized I wasn't just a betrayed husband. I had stumbled into something much bigger than infidelity. I sat frozen in my car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. What the hell was in that envelope? Why did his face change so suddenly? This wasn't just a secret romance. It felt darker, heavier. I leaned forward, trying to hear through the glass, but their voices were too quiet. All I could see was Anna's trembling hands as she tried to explain something. The man shook his head again, then slammed the envelope back onto the table. His jaw was tight, his eyes cold. Finally, he stood up and left, brushing past people without even looking at them. Anna stayed behind, staring at the envelope like it was poison. She pressed her fingers to her temples, breathing hard. Then, after a moment, she grabbed the envelope and hurried out. I ducked low in my seat, watching her walk quickly down the street. My heart was pounding. Should I follow her? Confront her? Or wait until she slipped again? Something inside me told me to be patient. So I didn't move. I followed the man instead. He walked with long strides, pulling out his phone and making a call. I rolled down my window slightly, trying to catch anything. His voice was sharp, angry. "She gave it to me, but it's worse than I thought. If this leaks, we're both finished." "No, I'll handle it. Don't worry." My chest tightened again. Finished? Leak? What were they hiding? I followed him for several blocks until he disappeared into an office building downtown. There was security at the entrance, and I couldn't just walk in. But now I knew, whatever my wife was caught up in, it wasn't just betrayal. It was dangerous. That night, at home, Anna acted normal. Too normal. She cooked dinner, laughed at a dumb TV show, even leaned on my shoulder like everything was fine. But I couldn't look at her the same way. My head was spinning with questions. When she went to shower, I checked her bag. Nothing. No envelope. No notes. Just the usual things: makeup, wallet, keys. But then, I noticed her phone on the nightstand. My hands trembled as I picked it up. Locked, of course. But I knew her password. It hadn't changed in years. I hesitated for a second, then unlocked it. My heart stopped. Dozens of messages from a number saved only as K. Some were short. Tomorrow. Same place. Don't fail again. Others were longer, more threatening. You know what happens if this gets out? I swallowed hard. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was being controlled. Maybe even blackmailed. The shower stopped. My heart jumped into my throat. I quickly put her phone back, pretending to be asleep. But I didn't sleep at all. My mind wouldn't stop racing. Who was Kay? What was in that envelope? And why did Anna look so terrified in that cafe? By morning, I had made up my mind. I wasn't going to sit and wonder anymore. I needed answers. And if Anna wouldn't give them to me, I'd find them myself. The next day, I couldn't focus at work. Every email, every phone call, it all felt meaningless compared to the storm brewing at home. By lunch, I made a decision. I was going to follow Anna again. That evening, I pretended to stay late at the office, but in reality, I parked near our house, waiting. Around 7 p.m. Anna stepped outside, dressed better than usual, her eyes scanning the street nervously. She didn't see me. She got into her car and drove away, and I followed at a safe distance. This time, she didn't go to the cafe. She drove across town, to an old industrial district I hadn't been to in years. Abandoned warehouses, broken streetlights, it was the kind of place you didn't go unless you had a reason. She parked in front of a warehouse, with a flickering light above the door. I killed my engine and watched as she got out, clutching a folder close to her chest. My stomach twisted. Minutes later, another car arrived. The same man from the cafe stepped out, his expression hard. But this time, he wasn't alone. 2 other men followed him, bigger, rougher. The kind of men you don't want to meet in a dark alley. Anna handed the folder to him. He flipped it open, scanning quickly. Then he snapped at her, his voice loud enough that I could hear faintly through the night air. This isn't everything. Where's the rest? Anna shook her head desperately. I don't have it yet, I swear. Please, just give me more time. The man stepped closer, lowering his voice, but the threat in his tone was unmistakable. Time is running out. You know what's at stake. I gripped the steering wheel, my pulse hammering. My wife, my Anna, was standing there, surrounded by men who looked like they'd snap her in half without hesitation. And yet, I didn't move. I just sat there, frozen, torn between fear and rage. Finally, the men got back into their car and drove away, leaving Anna alone. She leaned against the wall, covering her face with her hands. For the first time, I saw her break. Not the cheerful, smiling wife I thought I knew, but a woman carrying a secret too heavy for her to bear. When she finally drove off, I followed her home, careful to keep my distance. Inside, she acted like nothing had happened, asking me about dinner, smiling weakly. But I saw the cracks. I saw the way her eyes avoided mine. Later that night, when she was asleep, I snuck out of bed and went to the garage. My mind was racing. I needed to know what was in that folder. What could be so dangerous that it put her in the middle of something like this? I decided to go back to the warehouse. The place was silent, empty. I broke a lock on a side door and slipped inside, my phone flashlight guiding the way. Dust, broken crates, echoes of footsteps. It felt like a place where bad things happened. And then, tucked under a pile of old tarps, I found it. A second envelope. My heart stopped as I picked it up, my hand shaking. I opened it. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. Some of politicians. Some of businessmen I recognized from the news. And in every photo, they weren't alone. They were with women. Some looked scared. Some didn't look alive. My stomach turned. This wasn't just cheating. This wasn't just blackmail. This was something monstrous. And my wife was caught right in the middle of it. I staggered back, clutching the envelope like it was burning my hands. The faces in those photographs haunted me. Men with power, influence, the kind of people who controlled cities from behind closed doors. And those women, some were smiling, but others looked broken, terrified. A few of the pictures made my stomach twist so badly I thought I might throw up. What the hell had Anna gotten herself into? I shoved the photos back into the envelope and slipped out of the warehouse, my heart pounding so loud I was sure someone would hear. The night air felt colder, sharper. My entire body trembled with adrenaline. By the time I got home, Anna was already asleep. I sat in the living room, staring at the dark ceiling, trying to piece everything together. She wasn't just meeting some lover. She was tangled in something darker, a web of corruption, blackmail, maybe worse. And now, because I knew, I was tangled too. The next morning, I confronted her. Not directly, just hints. "You seemed tired last night," I said over coffee. She froze for half a second before forcing a smile. "Yeah, I didn't sleep well." Her lie cut through me like a blade. I wanted to grab her, shake her, demand the truth. But instead, I swallowed it down. Because if those men were as dangerous as they looked, if the photos were real, then one wrong move could destroy both of us. I decided to dig deeper on my own. At work, I used my computer to search the names of the businessmen and politicians I had seen in the photos. My stomach dropped when I realized most of them had been linked, quietly, never proven, to scandals, missing women, even deaths. The connections were there, hidden in plain sight. That night, I checked Anna's phone again. More messages from this time. They weren't just threats. They were instructions. "Deliver the rest tomorrow. Same place. No mistakes." I knew I couldn't just sit back anymore. Anna was walking into something she couldn't handle alone. And if I didn't step in, I might lose her forever, or worse. So I followed her again. She drove to a hotel on the edge of town. Not a cafe, not a warehouse. This time it was a private room. I watched from the parking lot as she went inside. Minutes later, the same man from before arrived. The arrogant smile was gone. He looked angry, dangerous. I couldn't stop myself. I got out of my car and slipped inside the hotel. Keeping my head down, I found the room number she had entered and pressed my ear against the door. Her voice was trembling. "I don't have everything yet. Please, I just need one more day." The man snarled. "One more day? You don't get to set deadlines. You know what happens if you fail again." I heard something slam against the wall. My chest burned with rage. I couldn't just stand there. My hand tightened into a fist as I pushed the door open. Both of them froze. Anna's eyes widened in shock, her face pale. The man turned slowly, his expression twisting into a smirk when he saw me. Well, he said softly. "So this is the husband," Anna whispered, her voice breaking. "You shouldn't be here." And in that instant, I realized I had stepped into something I might not walk out of. The room felt suffocating. My pulse hammered in my ears as the man slowly stepped toward me, his smirk sharp enough to cut through the silence. Anna stood frozen, her eyes darting between us like she was trapped between fire and gasoline. "You shouldn't be here," Anna whispered again, her voice trembling. "On the contrary," the man said, his tone cold and amused. "He deserves to know what his lovely wife has been hiding." My fists clenched. "I know enough. I know you've been threatening her, using her. And I know what's in those envelopes." For the first time, his smirk faltered. He tilted his head, studying me. "So you've seen them? That's unfortunate." He reached into his jacket, and my stomach dropped. For a second, I thought he was going to pull a gun. Instead, he took out his phone, tapped the screen, and held it up. On it was a photo of Anna, crying, terrified, tied to a chair. "This," he said softly, "is what happens when she forgets her place." Anna gasped, tears springing into her eyes. "Please," she begged. "Don't." I couldn't hold back anymore. I lunged at him, slamming him into the wall. The phone clattered to the ground as we struggled, fists flying, the sound of shattering glass filling the room. He was strong, but rage fueled me. Years of trust, love, and betrayal boiled into raw fury. Anna screamed, grabbing at my arm. "Stop! You'll only make it worse!" With one final punch, I sent him crashing to the floor. He lay there groaning, blood dripping from his lip. I stood over him, chest heaving, ready to finish it, when Anna's hand grabbed mine. "Please," she whispered, tears running down her face. "Don't. You don't understand. He's not the one in charge." My breath caught. "What?" Anna shook her head desperately. "He's just a messenger. If you kill him, they'll come for us. Both of us. And they won't stop." The man laughed weakly from the floor, spitting blood. "She's right. You think this ends with me? You have no idea how deep this goes." For a moment, silence filled the room. My rage slowly turned into something colder, fear. If what he said was true, then the photos, the threats, it was only the tip of the iceberg. I stepped back, my body trembling. Anna collapsed into my arms, sobbing. "I didn't want this," she cried. "They forced me. If I didn't do what they asked, they would have killed me, and maybe you too." I held her, my mind racing. Everything I thought I knew about my marriage, my wife, my life, it was all shattered. And yet, holding her now, I realized something terrifying. We weren't fighting for love anymore. We were fighting for survival. The man on the floor chuckled again, coughing. "You can run if you want. Hide. But sooner or later, they'll find you." I looked down at him, then at Anna. Her eyes were wide, terrified, but in them I saw a spark, a plea for strength. And in that moment, I made a choice. I wasn't going to run. I wasn't going to let them destroy us. If these men thought they could take everything from me, they had no idea who they were dealing with. I tightened my grip on Anna's hand. My voice was steady, even though my heart thundered. "Then let them come.